Keeping a CB radio in your car for emergencies by Paul, Mike 0 Whiskey November uniform, or 26 Charlie Tango 730 if you catch me on 11 metres and a PMR 446. Hey guys, it's Paul, Mike 0 Whiskey November uniform, or 26 Charlie Tango 730 if you catch me on 11 metres and PMR 446. It's a bit windy out here, so there might be a bit of wind noise. Not too windy though. Anyways, I am down at my car, as you can see. I want to talk about something quite useful. Having a CB radio in the boot of your car for emergencies. Now, my general recommendation is that everybody has a CB radio in their car. Because, let's face it, mobile phones don't work everywhere. And being in contact with each other is actually helpful. And also, it's actually perfectly legal to use a CB radio at the wheel. As long as you still keep your attention on the road, which isn't actually that difficult with a two-way radio. I'm a licensed amateur radio operator as well, so I'm pretty much covered from all angles for radios should the need arise, and I have some issues. So, keeping a small CB set up, an antenna, a mag mount, and a radio in the boot of your car, if you don't want it on permanently all the time, then you can do that too. So let's have a look in the boot of my car. Apart from the fact that it's a bit full of junk. So it just tends to be me. So on this side is all my emergency gear. So I've got the jack, the thing for taking the wheels off, if I have to change a wheel. There's a first aid kit in there, there's a warning triangle in the bottom of there somewhere as well. Petrol can, obviously. You never know when you might need to walk to a petrol station if you somewhat run out of petrol. So what we've got here is a small CB radio. This is the same P&I Escort HP7120 that I looked at and that's been on my passenger seat for a while. But it's in here at the moment. This is the antenna that I've put in for this one. This is the silicon dial match. You could use a bigger antenna because some of the orbiter antennas you might just be able to just wrap around the spare wheel and put it underneath the boot floor with the spare wheel if your car is like mine and has the spare wheel under the boot floor. So there's a mag mount in there as well, just here. It's quite a large mag mount for that antenna, but it's a mag mount. And just in case it's necessary, there's an SWR meter there as well, but I can't see that being too necessary because this antenna is already tuned. Though it's good to have an SWR meter just to make sure the antenna is tuned and make sure the antenna is tuned up on the spot where it will probably be put before you're putting it in the boot, and then just check before you transmit and call for help. So this radio runs off a cigarette lighter connector. So you just plug it into your car cigarette lighter socket, as long as you've still got power. The antenna can just go back there. The antenna just goes on the roof, the cable comes into the car and plug into the radio and plug the microphone in, switch the radio on, and then put your call for help out. So I've got some jump leads in there as well, should have a flat battery. But obviously if you've got a flat battery, then calling for help might be a bit difficult. But the CB would draw not a lot of current anyway, so it might still work. You might be lucky, unless the battery's completely dead. That's probably the only time it wouldn't work. But any other time when you have a blowout or the engine just cuts out and you can't get it going again, then, or any major emergency, then you've got some sort of way to call for help. So that antenna's not particularly long, but the longer the antenna the better, so that's why I suggested an orbiter tornado stinger springer type antenna, which, as I say, you can just stow it by wrapping it around the spare wheel if you absolutely have to. Although what I would personally recommend is, instead of keeping it all in the boot, is actually have it set up, the antenna on the car all the time, which is why, if you don't want a massive antenna, I recommend one of these. It's not going to get you too much good range, but it will work. So you can keep in contact, and I like to make sure that everyone's in contact with other road users. So, back in the day, when CB and the CB craze was going on in the 80s, you used to be able to buy emergency CB kits. They'd come in a box. You'd get a mag mount, a radio, cigarette lighter, power lead, and the radio would have the microphone built into it, and it would have channel 9 highlighted, because that was the emergency channel at the time. Technically still is in Ofcom's regulations, but it isn't mandated in law that it be that, which is a little bit of a shame, but it would be ideal to keep it a legal channel. But unfortunately, with CB being deregulated and license exempt, it's not actually difficult, it's not actually easy to police it. So it's just going to be used as a normal channel, unfortunately. So if you try calling for help on channel 9, you might not get anywhere. So that's been of some information to you. My recommendation is keep a CB radio in the boot of your car, or even keep it installed in your car, like I do. And that way, if you're out of mobile phone range, you can call for help. So, this is Paul, Mike 0 Whiskey November Uniform, or 26 Charlie Tango 730 if you catch me on 11 metres and PMR 446. I'm now going to close the boot of the car and go back up in the house. So, I shall catch you in the next video. 7-3 for now. Don't forget, you can subscribe to this channel and ring the bell to be notified of new videos as I upload them. 73 is from Paul, Mike 0 Whiskey November Uniform, or 26 Charlie Tango 730 on 11 metres and PMR 446.